Numan Ministers Forum urges Governor Fintiri to grant clemency in Sunda Jackson's case. In the wake of the Supreme Court's recent decision to uphold the death sentence of Sunda Jackson, a farmer from Numan, Adamawa State, who claimed he acted in self-defense against a herdsman, the Numan Ministers Forum convened a press conference this morning to express their deep concern over the ruling. Emphasizing the gravity of the situation, the forum passionately appealed to Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri to exercise his constitutional prerogative of mercy, highlighting the incident's profound impact on their local community.
Good morning all. Press conference by the Numan Ministers Forum, Numan, Adamawa State, on the case of Mr. Sunda Jackson, delivered by the Supreme Court of Nigeria on Friday, the 7th of March, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen of the praise, distinguished guests, fellow Nigerians, we are here gathered today to address a matter of utmost importance, one that speaks to the very core of justice, fairness, and the rule of law in our beloved country. This concerns the case of Mr. Sunda, a law-abiding farmer from Adamawa State, who now faces the most severe punishment under the law, that is a death sentence, following the Supreme Court's verdict in case where he acted purely and solely in self-defense. As a forum here in Numan, this matter directly concerns us, seeing that the unfortunate incident took place in our very own locality or domain. We feel highly imperative as a sacred duty and responsibility to lend a passionate voice in consonance with the myriads of voices already trending in the media over the blatant miscarriage of justice that resulted in the death sentence for Mr. Jackson. The facts of the case. Mr. Sunda Jackson was diligently tending to his farm, the primary source of his livelihood, when a young Fulani herder drove his cattle into the farmland, causing great damage to the crops he had labored to cultivate. In the ensuing confrontation, Mr. Jackson, acting out of fear for his life and property, was compelled to defend himself after the herder stabbed him twice on his back and leg. He overpowered the young herder, retrieved his knife, and used same in self-defense, which tragically resulted in the loss of the life of the young herder. This unfortunate tragic event proceeded through the legal system, culminating in a Supreme Court's ruling on Friday, the 7th of March, 2025, condemning Mr. Sunda Jackson to death. The legal basis for self-defense. It is imperative to emphasize that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and the Criminal Code of Nigeria both recognize the right of individuals to defend themselves against unlawful attacks. Section 33, subsection 2A of the 1999 Constitution vividly states that, and I quote, "A person shall not be regarded as having been deprived of his life if he dies as a result of the use to such extent in such circumstances as are permitted by law of such force as is reasonably necessary. A. For the defense of a person from unlawful violence, for defense of property." End of quote. Section 286 and 287 of the Criminal Code further provides that a person is justified to using reasonable force, even if it results in death, when acting to defend themselves from an imminent attack. Accordingly, Mr. Sunday Jackson's actions were not premeditated, nor were motivated by malice. He was a man purely protecting his life and his means of survival in an increasingly volatile security situation where farmers have suffered untold repeated destruction on their crops and violent confrontation. The court's argument and the miscarriage of justice. It is deeply troubling, grossly saddening, and profoundly pathetic that the Court of Appeals verdict, which was upheld on Friday, the 7th March 2025 by the Supreme Court, justified a ruling of on the unlawful basis that Mr. Jackson ought to have run away from the scene after retrieving the knife from the young herder, rather than retaliating. This claim assumes that Mr. Jackson, who had already been stabbed in the back and on his leg, was in any good condition to escape from the scene. Undeniably, this argument is a deliberate and blatant miscarriage of justice, since the law recognizes the right to defend oneself from sudden imminent danger, and in the case of Mr. Jackson, was not in position to flee due to the physical injuries he sustained as aforementioned. To suggest that he should have run away rather than defending himself in the heat of the argument is unreasonable and unjust. His actions were those of a man pushed to the edge by an unlawful attack, not an aggressor. Appeal for the prerogative of mercy. Having fully and exhausted all legal evidence, we now turn to the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, His Excellency Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, with a humble and passionate appeal to graciously invoke the constitutional powers of clemency under Section 212 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. This section empowers the governor to 1. Grant a pardon, either full or conditional. 2. Commit the sentence to a lesser punishment. Three, remit any portion of the penalty imposed. Given the circumstances of this case, the Numan Ministers Forum hereby urges His Excellency Governor Fintiri to exercise his prerogative of mercy and commit the sentence of Mr. Jackson in the interests of justice, equity, magnanimity, and humanity. A call for justice and peace. This case raises broader raises broader concern about the persistent conflict between the farmers and the herders in Nigeria. We therefore call on the government at all levels to strengthen profound productive measures to prevent future clashes between farmers and herders. 2. Ensure that justice, fair play, impartial and consider the factual validity of each case. And lastly, to promote peaceful coexistence between communities through dialogue and policy intervention. Conclusion. Mr. Sunda Jackson is not a criminal, but a victim of circumstances. His case demands fairness, compassion, and the rule of law. We passionately urge Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, therefore, to graciously grant him mercy so that his life may not be unjustly cut short for an act committed purely in self-defense. We wholly trust in the wisdom, fairness, and commitment to justice of the governor and the people of Adamawa State. May justice be served and may peace reign in our land. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you all.
The case has garnered significant attention, with human rights advocates both domestically and internationally criticizing the verdict. Notably, US-based human rights lawyer Emmanuel Ogebe remarked, and I quote, "There are more Nigerian citizens on death row in Nigeria now for defending themselves against Fulani herdsmen than there are Fulani herdsmen in Nigerian prisons on death row. That's just wrong. It's unacceptable." End of quote. As the Numan Ministers Forum and other concerned bodies continue to advocate for clemency, the spotlight remains on Governor Fintiri's forthcoming decision, which holds profound implications for justice and community harmony in Adamawa State. Caleb Zadok, reporting for Clemency TV.